Hey guys, I'm June from threecubebros, and for this week's video, Eugene and Andre are off camping somewhere, so they're gone, so I'm going to make the video for this week. So this week I really ran out of ideas, so I just got all the 3x3s I have. So here we have my Edison Cube 3x3, there's hair in it, okay, let's get rid of that. This is the Alpha V, and this is my Panshi, which I haven't really seen in a while, but there it is, my Panshi. This is the Sheng En FII, also haven't used in a very long time, and of course my main, my Zhanchi. So practically, this video is just going to be a quick solve on each of these cubes, just one solve, each of these cubes, and I'm going to have a brief discussion on each cube's strengths and weaknesses, and basically comparing them very quickly. And yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I don't know if you can see the screen very well, but I'll tell you the times and I'll write the times in the description anyways. But I don't have my timer with me because I left it at Adrian's house, but forget about that. So I'm just going to use my computer. I'll go in order of my least favorite to favorite cube, so I'm obviously going to start with the Edison Cube. So let's just scramble it. So once again, I don't know if you can see it, 47.76. So obviously we can see that the Edison Cube is not very good, so we'll compare that to the other times. Next up, I'll use the Alpha V. So 10-second difference, 37.98. That was the Alpha V. Alright, next up, I'll use the Sheng En FII. I believe that's what it's called. I haven't used it in so long, I forgot. But what happened was I did get a pop, so just to consider, this cube will pop obviously more than the other two I've used, the Alpha V and the Edison Cube. So, but to actually get a time, let's try again. So I got 26.09, which is a lot better than the other solves. So now I'll use the Panshi. So I got 26.29, which was 0.29 slower than the Sheng En FII. So that's interesting. Maybe I just got a lucky solve on the Sheng En FII. So that was a pretty good solve too. And now, of course, we have to go to my main, which is the Zhanchi. So I did get a pretty bad solve. I got 32.6, but although I favor this cube, I actually managed to do a worse, get a slower time than on the Panshi than the Sheng En FII. So obviously it's not all in the cube. Obviously there are specific cases that are luckier, or maybe you mess up, but in general this is still going to be my main. So now I'll move on to the comparisons. Alright, so basically I'll start in the order I solved. So the Edison Cube, I got 47.76 seconds, so that's a horrible time actually. And Edison Cube, no, I do not recommend, because if you do look at the footage, I was doing mostly full hand turns, because finger tricks are very hard since this cube is so stiff. So maybe once I use it more and lube it and actually give it proper attention, it may be decent, but it definitely won't be as good as the other 4 cubes that I used. So once again, a good starting cube, similar to the Rubik's brand Rubik's Cube, but definitely not a speed cube that I would use. Next cube, the Alpha V. So I got a 37.98 on the Alpha V. Once again, it's a pretty fast cube, but it has no corner cutting at all. And it can corner cut, but it requires so much force, this corner cut, that it's basically not having corner cutting at all. So once again, very fast, but once again, can't corner cut, thus is pretty bad for a speed cube. However, if you do apply a few mods, maybe shave down the corners and edge pieces, maybe corner cutting will be improved. But once again, there are better cubes than this. However, it is a very good beginning cube. Sheng En FII. This was my first speed cube, not really a speed cube, but one of the faster cubes. I actually got the best time on this, in this kind of test-like thing, 26.09. So that's a pretty good time for such a cube. Not as fast as Alpha V, but definitely has more corner cutting. Yeah, it definitely has more corner cutting. I really like this cube mostly because most of when I started cubing, I usually use this. However, not a huge drawback, but the sticker quality is quite horrible. The color is kind of fading off. That's fine, but just one minor thing to consider. And once again, not very fast. That's why I prefer these other cubes. And it pops quite a bit. Like I said, in my first attempt to solve this, it popped. And my second attempt, I got that good 26 seconds time. But even though it pops, it's a pretty decent cube. Next is the Panshi. The Panshi, I also got a pretty good time, 26.29. However, once again, this popped as well. I feel the Panshi is really fast, and corner cutting is quite amazing. However, it pops too often. If the Panshi would never pop, I would probably use this as my main instead of the Zhanchi, actually. However, another drawback, the Panshi is extremely loud. That's extremely loud. So, I mean, it's not a drawback, but it can get quite annoying. But the Panshi is very fast. It's a Dayan cube. Dayan cubes are very famous for having very fast and, you know, cubes with good corner cutting. So this cube is recommendable for a speed cube. However, of course, if you ask me, my favorite is going to be always the Dayan Zhanchi. Very fast, very smooth compared to the Panshi. It has it has very good corner cutting, just 45 degrees flat out. It hasn't popped on me for a very long time. Very reliable in terms of popping. And this is my favorite cube. Even though I got 32.6, a pretty bad time, I feel like this cube is still my favorite and definitely my main. So I hope you got something out of that short comparison. Mostly it was talking about me, how much I like the Zhanchi, and the Panshi is a pretty good cube too. But yeah, that's the video for this week, and I will give you a short sneak peek for tomorrow or next week's video, or the next time I upload a video, that is. As you can see, all these puzzles are scrambled, so I think it is pretty easy to guess what the next video is going to be. Alright, I'll see you next week. Bye.